Welcome to r/Entitled People, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them and they should get what they want. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel and for so many likes. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story: Night Auditor Faces Balloons, Love Songs, and a Bizarre Hotel Saga. The second story: Hotel Hell, Battling Drunk Parents, Middle School Hockey Teams, and False Accusations in the Night Shift Trenches. The third story: Neighbor Wars, Unveiling Property Encroachment, Legal Battles, and Unbelievable Deceptions. The first story is The Saga of Pineapple Guy. I'm the full-time night auditor at my hotel. Approximately a month and a half ago, we had a gentleman staying with us, and at about 3 in the morning I had a room call the desk and complain that the gentleman across from them was playing music extremely loud. So I went up to the floor, and as soon as I got off the elevator I could hear the music. It was blasting some love song. As I turned down the hallway, I could see a neon light-up pineapple sitting in the hallway in front of the door. The door was propped open with a towel with a speaker sitting on top of the towel. I tapped on the door and explained to this guest that I could not have him play music loud enough that it was disturbing other guests, and that he would have to turn it down. He said okay and picked up the speaker and went back into his room. I've worked in hotels for quite a while, and know how people can be, so I walked down to the elevators and waited for a moment, and sure as heck he walked right back out with his speaker, and stuck it back in the hallway on the towel. So I went back down, tapped on the door again, and said, "Sir, you're gonna have to take the speaker into your room and shut the door. It's disturbing other guests, and this is our hotel quiet hours," which, by the way, were posted on every floor. I could tell he was a little agitated, but he said sorry and picked up the speaker, and turned it off, picked up the towel, and went back in his room. About half an hour later, he came down through the lobby with his pineapple, a couple of heart-shaped balloons, and left the parking lot. About an hour later, at this point, it's approximately 5 a.m., he called the front desk. We have caller ID. He asked me what time it was, to which I replied that it was 5 a.m., and he mentioned that he was still on time or the name of the town he comes from. I told him no problem. He then asked me what time sunrise was. I told him I was not exactly sure, but gave him an approximate, and he told me that at that point that's okay. He could look it up online. To which I'm thinking, how come you don't know the time? But of course I didn't say that. He thanked me and I told him to have a nice day. He stayed the next night, and there were no noise complaints, but he did leave at about the same time with his pineapple and balloons to presumably go do whatever it is one does with a pineapple and balloons. Fast forward a couple of weeks, he was at the hotel again. At this point I find out that there were other noise complaints during the day, which of course nobody bothered to tell me because I'm just the night audit troll, and I'm often forgotten about as far as information about daytime hotel activities goes. He once again left the hotel at about the same time. No pineapple this time. Just a bunch of 6 or 7 heart-shaped mylar balloons, and went and sat in his car with the balloons tied to the front bumper of the car for about 2 hours, as he was not disturbing anybody and not making any noise. I, of course, didn't say anything to him. There's no law saying he can't sit in his car with a bunch of balloons tied to it. He came back in at 6 a.m., which is breakfast time, started playing pool, and proceeded to turn his speaker on full blast. The same love song type music that he had played the first visit. I had to go tell him that that needed to be turned off, that he couldn't be playing music loudly like that in the lobby. Come to find out the next night, he had been rented a room only on if he agreed to follow hotel policy and rules, and also he was told he was not allowed to play loud music on his speaker, and not allowed to play music on his speaker while in lobby. Here's where it comes in that I should have been informed of this, because he had been told were this to happen, he would immediately be asked to leave, but I was unaware of that. So he was put on the do not rent list, but yet a week later, as nobody around here seems to know how to communicate, or to use the communication log and write things down, I came into work, and the 3 to 11 desk attendant had a story to tell about how once again, he had been allowed to rent a room, and this time police had to be called to remove him because he had threatened our sales manager with a pool cue and refused to turn the music down. So he's now officially on our do not rent list, and I've made it my mission to make sure that all of our desk attendants know not to rent a room to him, as having to call the police to remove a guest is never my idea of a good night. I'm very curious as to what he thought he would accomplish with the light-up pineapple and balloons. The hotel I work at is mostly military and business people. We don't have a lot of families. It's in a very quiet area. There are not a lot of people that are just walking through this area, and certainly not through the hotel, especially at night where doors are locked and you need a key to get entry. But I mean, hey, to each his own, as long as it's not disturbing my other guests. The second story is Dear sports parents, hotels are not daycares. Parent your children. Let me start this out by saying that hotel staff dread kids' sports teams. Whether it's kids ding-dong ditching other guests, drunk parents messing up the lobby, or generally disturbing other guests, kids' sports are dreadful affairs. Kids are there to have fun. Parents are there to live vicariously through their children. Over my 6 years working in this industry, I've got my share of stories to tell, but one sticks out like a sore thumb. A bit over a year ago, I found myself calling the police to have a team, possibly drunk, middle school girls and their absolutely plastered parents, removed from my hotel. I've worked the graveyard shift at a smallest hotel for the last 4 years. I love it. It's a do whatever you want as long as you get your job done job. I essentially get paid to sit on my A playing video games most of the night. During my shift, I'm the only staff member on the premises. While I'm good in a crisis, I'm not an imposing figure. I'm a barely over 5'1", fat, pale as a sheet, baby-faced 26-year-old woman. My hotel has a 2 strikes you're out policy when it comes to noise complaints. Doesn't matter who you are or what you're doing, I've kicked guests out for effing too loudly. If we get 2 noise complaints about you, you're out. If you refuse to leave, I'll call the police to remove you. We also have a 10 p.m. curfew for children. They can't be outside of their room without a parent. On the night in question, we were hosting several middle school girls' hockey teams for a tournament. While the most of the kids were in bed, there was a group of girls who were wandering the first floor lobby area. When I told them they needed to be in their rooms, they pointed to a group of adults drinking in the lobby and said they were their parents. I went back to my work and thought nothing of it. A little while later, I was on my way to deliver something to a guest when the girls joined me in the elevator chatting loudly. When I warned them about our noise complaint policy, they just laughed at me. I knew I would be kicking them out when I saw one of them waving to the security camera while I was in the back office. A little while and one noise complaint after that, the girls walked through the lobby with one of their dads, and I warned him that I'd have to kick them out if I got another noise complaint. I'd be kicking them out. He laughs. Their parents in the lobby tell me they have no idea who these girls are. One of them comments he thinks the girls might be drunk. Bear in mind these girls are only 12 to 13 years old. I've done housekeeping. Parents have no problem with leaving booze out in the room they're sharing with their kids. Not long after comes the death knell, the second noise complaint. I grab my phone and head up. Get to the room and it's just the 6 girls and no parents. I tell the girls I need them to take me to their parents because I'm kicking them out. One of them calls their mom and tells her we're kicking them out. I've dialed 911 and am on the phone with an operator, who tells me to walk away from the situation. I go to the elevator, trying to no avail to get one of the girls to come with me and take me to her parents. I should note that there are 6 girls and 6 parents. Moms will be referred to as EM1 through 3, and dads will be ED1 through 3. One of the moms walks up to me while I'm headed to the elevator. EM1, I can see you're having some issues right now. You just need to calm down. Me, no, your families need to leave. EM1 continues to try and comfort me about my personal issues on the elevator ride down. I get off the elevator and find myself back against a wall by 6 drunk, angry parents. EM2, my daughter said you put your hands on her and she has a video. ED1, we're paying X amount of money to stay here. EM3, look, I can tell you're young and I'm much older than you. ED2, I want to talk to your manager. Me, I am the manager. Slight fib, but I'm the most senior person on staff at the moment. All parents continue like NPCs with only 3 dialogue options each. Now that one of them thinks I put my hands on her child, I'm scared SH-less I'll get hurt if I make a wrong move. I eventually manage to slide along the wall and have a clear path to the front desk, bolt to the back office, lock the door, and wait for the cops to arrive. 2 officers arrive. One comes to the back office and I give him a rundown of the night. The other officer goes to talk to the parents and EM3 does most of the talking. Officer has the patience of a GD saint. After an hour of talking and a few uncalled for snide comments from me, cops head out. I tell them my manager will get the security cam footage for them. Parents and kids grab luggage trolleys and bring their stuff down. Parents have a 9-hour drive ahead of them. One of them broke the mini fridge in the room. Standard charge of $250 for that. One of the most infuriating comments that kept popping up throughout this whole ordeal was, I'm paying X amount of money to stay here. Everyone is paying to stay here. All 100 plus guests in this building are paying to stay here. Paying for a hotel room does not entitle you to stay at that hotel. EM3 calls the next day, says she'll call the police on me. I tell her to go ahead. I've broken no laws. She says she knew that I was going to charge her for damages, not realizing that she's basically confessed to breaking the fridge. She says I've traumatized the girls. Who will the jury have sympathy for? Yada yada, eventually gives up and hangs up. The third story is Encroaching Neighbor. Bought a house a few weeks ago. Got a really bad vibe from the neighbor lady who basically forced us to sit down and chat with her just so she could complain in the most polite southern way about how our tree guy was cutting the dead trees down and trimming the overgrown ones. When fencing was brought up, we said we were building a privacy fence around our property. Would she mind if we just stopped at her fence instead of building all the way down the line? She then proceeds to tell us that, oh, absolutely not. I own 4 feet beyond my fence, and I need to be able to get those bushes. Mind you, nobody has maintained these bushes she speaks of. They're a mess. Anyway, we leave and I tell my husband that we're getting a survey immediately because I don't trust her. We get the survey and find out that not only is she 21 feet encroached on our property with her fence, but she also had concrete slab and a large shed-like thing built that's very much on our property by 21 feet. Not 6 inches or even 10 inches. 21 feet. Very small town, which she is not from, nor are we. The surveyor who did our property also did hers a couple of years ago when she bought, and she clearly knew what the property lines were. The house we bought was never lived in by the owner, so I don't think he even knew his property lines. He never had a survey. She's also encroaching 4 feet to her hind neighbor, which is a business office but not my business. We already know we have to contact a lawyer. She either has to pay for the portion of land she thought she was going to steal, or tear a portion of her 2-story shed thing down, tear out her cement patio and take down her fence. Who in their right mind would do these things, and how long is this going to take? Will I get in trouble if I just take the fence down that's on my property and pull up my beach chair to her crappy patio that's on my land? Start parking in her driveway that's also been created on my land? I'm mind blown. Update 1. Not too much to update right now, as this all happened right before the weekend. We will be meeting with a lawyer today. We think we're going to 1. Offer to allow her to take her BS down, which would put her out a bunch of money and I don't care. 2. She can buy the piece of land from us for a pretty penny, because if you try to steal from me, I'm going to make you pay. 3. She can rent the property for a nice monthly fee for 12 months. She must get renter's insurance. At the end of the 12 months, she has to go. I would love to see her face when she reads that option. I'm sure she thinks renting is below her. I'm not sure if it's legally allowed, but I would like for her to have 30 days to make a decision, or we just take over our property. I'll update again after the lawyer. And about adverse possession. Again, I haven't met with the attorney yet, so I'm going by the research I did for my state. She would have to have been using the property for 10 years and paid taxes on it for 2. I have no doubt that was her goal, but she's only resided there for 7 years and never paid a dime in taxes on that portion. Update 2. Finally met with a lawyer. Like I said in the beginning, very small town, and the neighbor's not from the town. The lawyer we met with happens to be good friends with the gentleman who did our survey, as well as the neighbor's survey, and his wife is also in real estate law in our town, but there's no conflict of interest. Sending out a letter to have her remove her BS from our land within 30 days, and obviously she will ignore it and we go from there. $2,500 later, worth it to me. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Have a good day.